if rain dey come, I no dey able sleep because I dey think I say wetin be happen, I dey think about I must happen back. So that now we afraid now.
So this rain come all day Sunday, throughout the night back Sunday, till they clean Monday. We auntie call me, say boy I read news, but 2000 na dey and now disaster don't take place there. Say come quick. Any side where you dey, say just left anything where you dey padule you can.
I hear sound where the ground shake about 2 times, make it 3 times, now it explode. Explode will begin see stone. To me, unbelieving as say the ground is open. All the holes then go inside, then wait till come up, it can't in bed.
So I come, but not even reach down to we. We say we all stay outside on bed.
I lived over there. I was living with my uncle, a family of 12, but I left 6 months before it happened. When I came over, I said no, 25 houses are missing. They've been covered, not even moved, but they are covered.
Then they say in Peking, where they breastfeed, the water na me go with her. So I begin walk back like the hospital there. You know, I won't come back. We say they dig the body there. I know they will see her. So like the say, they all don't bury under the dirty.
I lost over 50 members of my family as I'm speaking to you now. Over 50 of them.
My sister all died, the man died, in Peking where they breastfeed, they died, they all died.
Anytime I think about this mudslide, I refer to it as the cry of Sierra Leone.
When the war took place, there was a massive rural-urban migration to Freetown. So when they came to the city, most of them found themselves or decided to find where the value of land is much lower. And these areas could be the hillside slums, wherein they settled. Because the structure at the ministry was not that functional, they were unable to cope with the situation. So people were building here, there, without even going through the due process. So that created a lot of chaos.
If you talk about the landslide, if you go back 10 years ago, that very area was part of the national park. Really, people have no business to go and build it. There was no infrastructure made in terms of road network or anything like that. That means everybody basically started digging into the hills and trying to get the rocks. That's what they use for concrete. So basically, we weakened the foundation of that slope. And it's been going on for a long time. And unfortunately, we had heavy rains that contributed. So just all what you needed was a small fault somewhere, and it just cracked off. Deforestation is a huge problem. I mean, if you go to National Protected Area Authority, they will tell you that they are fighting it on a daily basis. The forest plays a huge role in terms of protecting our waterways, protecting the slopes, and if you start destroying that ecosystem around us, you're basically inviting problems like what happened with the landslide. Climate change is global. is not necessarily it even has to happen in Sierra Leone. What you're doing in the United States or England is coming to affect us. So it's a bigger thing. But everyone has a responsibility. For us, I think it's more about preventing some of these things. Like if you got a slope, you got a hill, don't destroy it because the weather patterns are changing. Maybe in August we got 30 inches of rain because of the climate change, and now we are getting maybe 300 inches.
We have to caution in the way we are disrespecting our environment. If a lot of attention has been drawn to this particular issue, that we are going to expect the occurrence of a mudslide, and that we are sitting on a powder keg if nothing is being done seriously to overcome this. So if all these warnings were there and not much was taken, I would consider that the recent mudslide is really not natural. It is to a large extent man-made.
I mean, we all know that most cities across the developing world, we are grappling with all this urbanization of the poor. Urbanization is not going to go away, but that's why you have institutions created to plan it.
Urbanization is good if you are able to manage it very well. Cities contribute over 60–70% of the GDP in most countries. Same applies to Freetown. Now the question is, are we in a position to manage it well? That's an open question. The stark reality is this, like we stopped planning for decades. I mean, if you look at Freetown, you look at the Central Business District, you see some resemblance of planning. You see the streets, were planned, were structured, but after the 60s, 70s, we stopped. Why, I don't know. And so since then, planning has never been a national priority until recently.
If we were to develop the city, looking at the geography or the topography of Freetown, you realize that it has a very small space of land that settlement or housing could be done. And if we were to do infrastructural development in the hillside areas, we had put in certain mitigation measures in terms of the runoff. That was not done. Also, looking at the number of slum communities each year that are affected by floodwaters, we should have looked at what type of housing should have been established in this area.
Inside this community is about 7,000 people where at least they suffer this flooding. If you can see the demarcation of the water, and also the water be rich. And this water don't spoil beaucoup property for we. When the water, the flooding, when the cow don't rubbish them, you go clear, tell you they tire. The remnants where they left now they mosquito they can't breathe. Me big one, I know they see this at drink them. But when they say, I say, can't get from me, they go and cancel. If you thirsty, they tip at a drink. Sometimes that's all they cause for letting they get this cholera, diarrhea. Over the 30 years old on there, we not ever experienced flooding like this Congo community. Ever. We see Canada trouble in the carrots.
From observations, living in Freetown and in Sierra Leone for several decades now, I'll say that the weather conditions have changed a lot. We used to have 6 months of rainy season, 6 months of dry season. Now the rainy season has been restricted to a couple of months, and within these restricted months, the intensity has increased intensively.
The climate change now, just 1 hour or 1 hour, 30 minutes, rain and the flood. You worry, it don't happen 2015, 2016, and 2017. We don't know. So then 2018 will be the worst. We own preparation all, would they call upon government for giving a retaining wall. That now we own preparation because we poor. We poor.
Yes, Mama, Mrs. Cecilia. All people be they live there. All things go backward now. School now they like I see them picking them no more now. Now so all man they are now work now they some man be worker.
For grain we left right now with me picking where I go in the morning. They out in 2 picking the way we go holiday. They're not able to understand right now, up till now, wait till I put them. And they ask me, I say, their mama don't go buy market. So me can able to tell them it. If we come here now, go to a village, we go find we say in a village, we go tell them, then say understand. So now so.
I have their pictures on my phone. When I watch them, I fall tears. I try hard as a young man to resist, but when resisting, they are persisting. And most of my family members were helping me educationally, financially, in terms of feeding. But being that I have lost all of them, sometimes even to get a daily meal, it's hard. What moved me really from my own village to the city is education. Because the school I was attending at my village, there's no lights, there is no computer, there is no phone like for internet facility. Sometimes teachers that do come to the city, when they explain to me, do you know about internet when I was in the village? You know, I was like a dreamer, asking, what is internet, when I don't even know about phone. If I come to the city, I get my education no matter what. Whatever resources I get here, I can go back to my village, you know, bring on board.
Now when this day don't be now big here, then kind of story that I say. They be don't say let no billionaire, they no safe, they be don't say under bad. Me the talk be said to let that you say me I know area. What I will get in life, you don't see die, they go there. Where you don't see say under if I go there, they go die there, they still go there. But now that what they tell you because God don't kill. You don't get any option.
You are supposed to safeguard your citizens. That is why you have a government. So my question to them is, why are you allowing people to go and settle down in these vulnerable areas? Why didn't you advise the people?
It is not the Minister of Lands allowing them. Someone may build a house anywhere until he or she completes that house without the knowledge of the ministry. So by the time you realize you have a whole settlement in a particular area. I'm not saying it's not the responsibility of the government, it is. But fortunately, the government is not in that position to effectively monitor development control. I mean, those are the challenges.
Mohamed Bangla, when a Minister of Information, a guy who's here. Oda Giam, na Ministry of Lands, na government man. So if they be say we come here, then they live there. If you see them there, the government aware people out there, they live here.
That's true that you have these government officials being in those areas. Unfortunately, there's too much lawlessness within this country. People don't have respect for the laws of Sierra Leone, so allows them to do whatever they want to do.
There are clear rules, but what else do you expect if the elites who are supposed to be enforcing these rules are at the forefront of building in such places? You can't be surprised if you see the poor going to also grab a place.
For me, it's very simple. Nobody can own a land here without a survey plan from the Ministry of Lands, right? So if the Ministry of Lands clearly says this is greenbelt, then I think it's very easy to stop it. Find the person who signed that permit. Get rid of him. Easy as that. You don't really need to go run after the little guys who are trying to encroach. These are poor people. They're desperate. They are marginalized, basically. This is where I think government needs to come in and implement these policies they have.
As a council, we are in a way not given the free hand to do what we are expected to do. In terms of ensuring that the people live in a better manner, people are not exposed to disaster, it is the council's responsibility. But you cannot do the job properly. That's a big problem.
I think in my country, nearly 1,000 people died. And we're saying, well, the government didn't enforce laws properly, they don't have the resources, they didn't do their job, heads would roll. People would lose their jobs. There'd be investigations. What happens here? Well,
it's difficult for me to say. I mean, that's a political issue. Probably, you know, other people may answer that question.
Do you think there should be more responsibility?
Absolutely, absolutely.
If we don't stop it, I think what we saw is just the beginning. I'm very, very scared. There's more to come. I know this area very well, and there are many areas that are even more vulnerable than the very place that collapsed.
It's unfortunate that a lot of people had to die unnecessarily. I feel very much uncomfortable that in a modern world whereby some of these things can be taken for granted by various other nations, we still continue to grapple with it. It's really unfortunate, it's really sad.